The AL West might be the most volatile division in baseball in 2026. And you need to tell us, what do you think is going to be the most volatile? What team do you think is going to come on top of the AL West in 2026? We will tell you our picks here shortly. But before we do that, Parker, we got to get into it. We're rolling into another division preview, and the AL West is a really fun one.
Yeah, no, I couldn't agree more. I think it's going to be. I have interesting predictions. I have one little curveball to throw in on this division, and me saying that I'm sure just gave it away. But yeah, no, I like this division headed into 2026. This is going to be very, very interesting to see what happens.
Ooh, Parker, an Angel homer. You heard it here first.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, let's get into it, Parker. And I think we need to set the scene a little bit. So the AL West in 2025, we had a lot of fun. Obviously, it was focused on the absolute monster beast mode season of Cal Raleigh in the Mariners taking that division with 90 wins. The Houston Astros 3 games back of them with 87 wins. Then came the Rangers, who surprised everyone, barely getting to 500, followed by the Athletics almost getting 80 wins, surprising us, and then the Angels continuing to do Angel things, and we'll talk about them here shortly. But just one question for you, just right off the bat. Is this still 100% the Mariners division, or does someone else have a little bit of a higher ceiling here?
I think that it is, but there's a really volatile factor that will determine whether or not it is, and it's not Cal Raleigh, and it's not that pitching rotation.
Ooh, I'm excited.
We want to talk
All
Mariners right now, or do we want to wait until later?
No, we'll wait till later. Let's save the best for last, baby. So let's start with the not best, and we'll go with the Angels. Sorry, Angels fans. So,
well, are we doing picks? What are we doing? We got picks to give, or we're gonna do them?
No, we're not gonna do picks. We'll save picks to the end. You folks gotta wait. We won't have you waiting too long. But we want to talk through each of these teams. Let's start with the Angels, Parker, because the Angels, man, the Angels. I mean, here's what I'll say about the Angels. I don't even know how to start this because it's the goddamn Angels. But what I will say is there has been clearly a desire by Perry Manassian and Artie Moreno to spend a little more money than they have in the past, put some guys on this team. There is certainly an enhanced pitching infrastructure there. And I don't know if they can really make any progress other than it's a health question for me. So like if the team is healthy and all the guys they have added to this team stay healthy and play 162, maybe you see some upside. You have Mike Trout's expected to go back to center field, which is interesting. And then the rotation. Yeah, absolutely. And then the rotation seeing some arms. So are seeing some new arms, some veteran arms. So for you, Parker, when you look at this Angels team, what are you looking at for 2026 for them?
So it's really easy to crap on the Angels. It's like everybody loves to do it. I spent a lot of time in that ballpark, and they got some really nice fans. They got some great fans. They are the closest geographic team to me. They have a beautiful ballpark, and I think that this lineup has more upside than any other last place in a division lineup, except maybe like the AL East's last place team. When you look at their lineup, it has a guy like Zach Neto hitting leadoff, which Zach Neto, like, think about the money Zach Neto would make and what the length of the contract would be if he were to hit free agency this year. It would probably be touching 12 years with like an AAV of like 20 to 25 million. Like, this guy is big. That's Bryce Harper money. If you haven't watched our Bryce Harper video, on your way over to it, like this video, subscribe, and then drop a comment telling us where you went so that when you came back, you could come back straight back to it. But Zach Neto is an incredible ball player. I think everybody's high on him. He's only 25. Nolan Schanuel has not panned out to the degree that they wanted him to when they drafted him and had him skip the minor leagues. Right. But what if it happens? You know, he's still 24 years old, and he could be kind of a guy in this lineup and could choose to do so this year. He's projected to bat second. So he's going to get himself some at-bats. If he can figure something out at the plate, that's going to be really good. And when you look at the rest of the names, I'll say them quickly. Mike Trout, Joe Adell, Josh Lowe is a big addition to this team that we're barely talking about. Jorge Soler, Logan O'Hoppy's due for a breakout, and then Christian Moore also has a lot to prove for these Angels. But it's a young team with a lot of good veteran players on it. And I think that if this lineup realizes its upside, they may not be a last place team. I'm not going to go out there and say they're going to make, a wild card in a pretty good American League, but they are better than the credit they have typically been given over the last few seasons, I think.
Yeah, I do like you said, I like the first four in that lineup for sure. Nolan Shanuel last year, 12 home runs, hit 264 average. I would, if he's hitting 264 average and he can give you 10 more homers at 22, that should be the bar for a guy like Nolan Shanuel from the left side. And I think that's very possible for him. I still believe.
I've played at that ballpark. That right field wall, very reachable.
Very reachable. If Parker can reach it, Nolan Shanuel can reach it. So, Parker, if you could reach it going oppo, Nolan Shanuel can get 22 bombs over
I
that
cannot
box.
reach it going oppo, but Nolan Shanuel certainly
You're
can. You're
supposed to agree with me. No one needs to know. No one needs to know. Just say yes and move on. All right. So, hey, if it doesn't work out for Nolan Shanuel, we're putting Parker Kirk at first base. But what I will say is this rotation, okay?
Mm-hmm.
The rotation last year was just a rigmarole of random crap for the A's, but this year they're rolling in with Yusei Kikuchi, Jose Soriano's returning, Reed Detmers hopefully can get something going out of the rotation for this team finally, and Grayson Rodriguez. Let's not forget, okay, that the Orioles sent Grayson Rodriguez to the Angel. The Orioles sent him to the Angels as part of that Taylor Ward trade. So, Grayson Rodriguez, if he continues, a lot of upside, and if he capitalizes on that, you're looking at someone who could be the ace of this rotation potentially for the next couple of years for the Angels. So they have a possibility there in Grayson Rodriguez. I think you put him in a rotation on a team that's not as stressed to win a division and go deep in the playoffs. I like taking that stress off a player's shoulders, especially a young guy like Grayson. So, so I don't know, man. I think at the end of the day, the rotation, nothing to write home about, but they need to figure out who they have. I guess my question for you is, considering all of that, like for them to have won 72 games last year, which, mind you, for a team like this, winning with wins in the 70s, not terrible, I'd say. Not terrible.
No. No, I can see this team winning 80 games.
Okay, well, that was going to be my question. Like, what does success look like for a 26 Angels team as constructed?
A success for the 26 Angels looks like breakout seasons from Reed Detmers and Grayson Rodriguez, and a return to form for a guy that you didn't even mention, but started an all-star game for the American League in Alek Manoah. And I am still not out on Alek Manoah. I think that there's too much talent there to be completely out on him. So think about what the peak, like the best version, everything works out and the planets align for this Angels team. Yusei Kikuchi, 4 ERA. Jose Soriano, 4 ERA. Detmers, Grayrod, and Manoah could all end up below 3.5. They could, theoretically. Detmers is the shakiest of those guys for me.
Totally.
But then also, I just do me a favor, scroll down a little further on roster resource. Look at this bullpen, because this bullpen is sneaky good with Robert Stevenson, Drew Pomeranz, who came out of nowhere to come out of retirement last year and put up really good numbers. Kirby Yates is on this team. Jordan Romano's on this team. And then the last 4 names in this bullpen could all be role players. Ryan Zefferjon, Brent Suter, Jose Fermin, and Chase Silseth. For me, none of those guys are the white flag guy. None of those guys are the just go eat 5 innings because our starter got knocked out in the 3rd or we're down by 10 runs. All of those guys are guys that I'm comfortable giving the ball in a tied 6th inning.
And eventually you're getting Ben Joyce back. Don't forget about Ben Joyce, who's got
Ben Joyce throws 112 miles an hour.
You may slightly be rounding up there, but I'll take it. So you're right. I mean, if the Angels find themselves in a position where they can take their 2025 30th worst offense by average in baseball. Okay, last in the
Yeah.
league. And they can even get to 25, 24 on that list. And their pitching is slightly improved out of the rotation, and you're closing games at the end of in the 7th, 8th, and 9th. You could get 5 to 7 more wins out of that and be creeping
Dude,
to
the
80,
Angels
man.
could finish third. The Angels could finish third.
No. Okay, slow down. Slow down.
They could. We got more teams to talk about, and I will justify myself.
Let's go. All right. Good luck, but we'll keep going. All right. So
they could.
Let's move to Parker. Parker, I feel like you and we love this team. It's one of our favorite teams, the Athletics. I am in love with what they're doing, man. I mean, they are sneaky competent, okay? They have young position players that are just some of the most freak athletes I've seen, and it's very clear that they have a path forward. Are they a team that is like a frisky 84 win team, or are we still a year away from that?
I'm big on the Athletics this season, man.
Oh, I know, me too, man.
In on what they're doing. Nick Kurtz could win an MVP in his second season. Like,
could you
imagine? Full year? Oh, I could. I'm imagining it right now. I think about it every night when I go to bed. Nick Kurtz, incredible player. Shea Langoliers, just underrated in my opinion.
All right, I'm gonna stop you right there. I have to. I've been dying to bring this up, and I'm glad you said Shea's name. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who are not tuned in on the A's and have not heard of Shea Langoliers, do yourself a favor and go look this guy up, because you're right. He is underrated. And folks, there are not many catchers in baseball. In fact, it's a dying breed of catchers who hit 30-plus home runs. And Shea, out of nowhere, has done this. I mean, we're talking like Buster Posey, Mike Piazza. The days of those guys, gone, okay?
Yeah.
And here we are, Shea Langoliers, who's hitting 30 home runs for the A's, and his power is sneaky good.
Yeah, absolutely. I think the worst thing to happen to Shea Langoliers was Big Dumper and Cal Raleigh.
True,
because
true.
if Cal Raleigh doesn't hit 60 home runs last year, we're talking about Shea Langoliers hitting 31. He benefits from 81 games at a minor league ballpark. Of course, every single one of them does. But hey, he's going to be playing 81 more games in that minor league ballpark this upcoming year, and I can't wait to see what he does with it. These Athletics, I mean, Tyler Soderstrom, inked. Brett Rooker, inked. Jacob Wilson, inked. Lawrence Butler, inked. Like,
man,
that is a core, man. That is a big core to really get settled into the middle of that lineup, to really bang the ball around. Excited to see what happens. We got Jeff McNeil joining the team. Denzel Clark, sneaky, playing incredible defense out there in center field. Not sneaky. He had one of the greatest catches in MLB history last year, if you remember. And then when you look at the rotation, and the rotation to me is maybe, I mean, it's the worst part, right?
Yes.
But it's not terrible. It's Luis Severino, Jeffrey Springs, Aaron Savali, Jacob Lopez, and Luis Morales. Now, let me ask you something. Transplant this this Sacramento A's team, and have them put on Rockies uniforms and go play in Coors Field.
Oh.
And I would be like, oh my God, finally, the Rockies got a good young core that really hits the ball to play in that ballpark, and a serviceable starting rotation. You can take the same logic and apply it to Sutter Health Park. You can do it. The ball flies out of there just like it does at Coors. So if you're going to win in that ballpark, this was the way you had to do it from the jump. And that's what the A's are doing this upcoming season. So I think that if you can tread water defensively and pitching and just hit the ball out of the ballpark 3 times a game, I think you're going to see this A's team really succeed. And I'm super excited to see the green and gold make a bit of a resurgence.
Yeah, man, it's going to be great. The Jacob Wilsons, the Nick Kurtzes, they're just going to be fun to watch. And let's remind the folks, I mean, we're getting up to their new ballpark in 2028, and this is lining up perfectly to where all these guys are going to be in the midst of their prime when they get to Las Vegas, and they're going to be such a fun team to watch. And you bet, you talk about playing in offensive ballparks, that Las Vegas ballpark's going to also be, an offensive park,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be a domed facility. So this offense is not going to go away anytime soon for sure.
Domed,
Okay.
warm, and dry. That ball's going to fly.
Absolutely. Let's not forget in Oakland, it was just like this heavy, thick air and balls were going nowhere. That was
and it was also a
basically hitting.
Cavern. They were playing in the Grand Canyon.
Absolutely. There's no surprise that no one found their offensive might in the Coliseum. That was not going to happen. Geez, what a worthless pit of a ballpark. I so feel for A's fans who've had to go there and experience that in a massive outdoor gymnasium. How terrible. Sorry, I didn't mean to shit on the Coliseum, but we're all thinking it. I had to say it.
That's the last dive bar. Thank you very much.
That's why it's somewhere there's still a family of raccoons in that facility. All right.
There's like six.
I know. It's a family reunion. So we talked about the Angels. We talked about the A's. Let's get into where things really start to get interesting and where things could be shaken up, I think, in this division. And I want to start with the Rangers, Parker, because the Rangers really underperformed last year. Like I said, they went 81-81 at 500. And this is a team where their offense, Parker, just took an absolute nosedive. 26th in average last year, 26th in OBP, 26th in OPS, and 22nd in runs. And so when you think about the Rangers, they've made some pretty significant changes to their team over the offseason. And this is where I think the best way to talk about the Rangers in my mind is they are the team with the broadest range of outcomes, in my opinion.
Okay. I could see that for sure. The same way I felt about the A's, I feel the opposite about the Rangers. I'm not feeling that great.
Okay, tell me more. That's interesting.
I'm not feeling that great. I don't know. Look at this lineup. Brandon Nimmo.
Okay.
Wyatt Langford is good. Corey Seager's good. Jock's going to be playing every day? Question mark?
I doubt it.
I mean, you're only he's a platoon bat and he's listed as their primary DH. Nobody likes to have a platoon at DH. You kind of want a guy that can sit in that spot or have a true rotational DH. Jake Berger, I think we've seen the ceiling from Jake Berger. I think he is who he is, and that's not a bad player by any means, but it is who he is. Personally, I think unless you have a massive breakout from Wyatt Langford and Evan Carter, and Josh Young has a significantly better season, which I don't think he will, I think this team is going to severely underperform offensively, especially when their catcher 1-2 is Danny Jansen and Kyle Higashioka, which are like two second string catchers on most other teams. Danny Jansen has been a second string catcher for the last few years of his career. He looks to be the starter here, and then Higgy is kind of just like a guy who catches the ball and hits the occasional bomb. I don't love that. When you look at the rotation, though, is where it kind of starts to come around, depending on how you view these guys. Jacob deGrom, for me, do you get a full season? If you do, that's great. Nathan Eovaldi's got to decline at some point. I love Nate. I hope he doesn't decline, but especially guys like him at his particular stage in his career, two Tommy Johns, throws a lot of that splitter, which we've seen be maybe the most detrimental pitch to a pitcher's arm. I don't know if we're going to get vintage Nate Eovaldi from him anymore. And then who is Mackenzie Gore? Who is Jack Leiter? And who is Jacob Latz? All three of those guys. It's again a situation, like I said, with the Angels, where the ceiling for all those guys is very high. And if they all perform to the ceiling, then we're going to have a really great starting rotation. But the problem is that was a stretch that I was using to try to give myself and Angels fans hope. And that is not something I want to be doing when we're talking about a team that wants to compete for a wild card or better. And the bullpen looks okay. I mean, there's a Robert Garcia and a Chris Martin in there. Again, Chris Martin's about to turn 40. This is his age 40 season. Alexis Diaz, there's upsides to these guys, but I don't love the roster. I don't love the rotation, and I think the lineup's going to disappoint.
Wow. Okay. I mean, don't get me wrong. I see where you're coming from there. That is not, I think nothing you said is a stretch. I want to go back to the offense for a second because I think it all really rests. Not all. Most of it does rest in this offense. I mean, you have Jock Peterson and Jake Berger, who each played about only 100 games last season. So
Yeah.
if you can get closer to full seasons from them and have them contributing a 1 to 1.5 WAR, all right, sure. I mean, a lot of this offense is going to rest on Nimmo's, on the Wyatt Langfords and Corey Seagers of the world. Sure, whatever. Um, I I think everything for them, like any other team, needs to go right offensively for this to all click. I think
Hmm.
once you get to the bottom of that lineup, yes, you go with Young, Smith, Jansen, issue for sure.
Yeah.
However, they are that team, and we've seen them be very streaky in the past. I could see a scenario where that rotation gets them through April, May, a little bit into June, and if they can kind of really rest on that rotation and they can then kind of slowly work their way to getting their offense hot, maybe we're seeing a pretty competitive Rangers team in late June into July and the dog days of summer. Because once they're hot during that time, I've noticed this team in past years, like they get hot and they ride that. And they're really
Yeah.
good at riding it. And it's almost like you talk about like in football, how it's like you want to get hot at the right time. You want to get hot like in weeks like 11 to 14 and
Yeah.
then ride that to the playoffs. I feel like this team
Absolutely.
operates the same way. Like they want to get hot in June and July and ride that through the dog days of summer. And I think that's really their only path to being competitive in this division.
Yeah, I could agree. Do you think that the Brandon Nimmo trade was an upgrade from Marcus Simeon?
Um,
I'll stop you there because if you can't clearly say, I think they downgraded
it's not. Well, okay.
personally.
uh, Really? I don't think it's either, and that's why I hesitate. I think it's an absolute wash because I don't know that
You
you're going
think
to get
so?
any. Yes, I you traded this. You traded equal potential offense. And then if you look at just position value for defense, I would call Semyon a better defensive second baseman than Nemo is a defensive left fielder. I think Semyon's the better defensive player. So if you want to give him the edge, sure. But I think offensively, it's probably a wash.
I just think that you address the need because there was a need in the outfield, but you
Sure.
created a pretty big hole that you're now entrusting to Josh Smith. And so basically, for me, it feels like they replaced Adolis Garcia by trading Marcus Simeon, but then didn't replace Marcus Simeon.
I I think they think pretty highly of Josh Smith, though. And I think
Okay.
for Josh Smith, I think the way it's going to work for Josh, because I want to see actually how many games he played last season. So
I
he
don't know, but he's
played, I mean,
28.
he played 144 games. So it's not even the fact they're trying to give him more playing time. So they think highly of him, but he played. He played most of the season.
He's 20.
So
He is who he is, though. You know who he is. He's going to
true.
put up 1.5 WAR.
I don't, your point stands. I think I, I, I wish this team did more. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
look at the Rangers and they put some cash out there for players
Yeah.
and they have not done that the last few years. And I think it's really hurt them. Like I would have loved the Rangers are a type of team that if they would have gone out and did that Kyle Tucker deal, if they would
Yeah.
have went out and got that Framber Valdez, like they should have. And then we're talking. I don't know. Like, there's
Why is
something about
Gino
them. They're not.
Suarez not wearing a Rangers uniform? Because to me, it feels like he fits so well.
Yes. Yes. No, that's right. And that's exactly the point, right? Like, I think they could have made like these incremental, like, let's just forget Kyle Tucker for a second and that tier of player. If you just supplemented second, third, another even
Yeah.
bench outfielder bat, you couldn't have done that for 20 million, like,
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah, I
know.
don't know. I mean, especially like think about what was one of the best parts about this Rangers lineup when they won the World Series. Like Jonah Heim was a big part of that lineup. Gone, and
Yeah.
in his
Yeah.
spot are two I don't want to say second rate, but probably second string catchers now at these particular points in their career. I don't know, man. I think there's upside. There is. Did you hear the whole like Seager comments about Simeon?
No.
Oh, so there was a microphone in front of Corey Seager's face, and he was asked about his relationship with Marcus Simeon, and about how there were rumors that it was a tense relationship. And Corey said that he started off by saying, "Look, I have the utmost respect for Marcus Simeon,
No,
and it was a business relationship." And it's like, okay, I'm basically stealing this from friend of the show, Justin Havens, but he was like, first of all, if that's what you're leading with, you did not have a professional relationship with that guy. It was borderline unprofessional if that's what you're leading with.
Absolutely. Well, that answers your previous question, though. Like, was it an upgrade? If that's true, if what you're saying is true, it didn't matter. Didn't matter.
Apparently he needed to go because Corey Seager's the guy making the most money. And apparently they floated the idea of maybe trading Seager, but nobody's going to pick up that deal. If there's two of them, you're going to trade one of them. It's going to be Simeon, especially when you can get a guy like Nimmo. But like, I don't know. Corey Seager's sneaky younger than I thought. Don't know why I thought he was like 34. He's going into his age 32 season, so we could see a lot from him. I mean, he is projected for over 4 WAR. Him and Wyatt Langford are the only two people on the team projected for that outside of, well, I guess Jacob deGrom's projected for 3.7. But like, again, deGrom's going into his age 38 season. And with a guy with his injury history, 38 is ancient.
Yes.
I don't know. We spent a lot of time on a Rangers team I don't have a ton of faith in.
Okay, well, let's definitely move on then. Go to a team that, Parker, I would love to keep not having faith in them, but son of a bitch, they keep just proving me wrong, these damn Astros. I'm waiting for it, Parker. I'm waiting for them to fall off the face of the earth. Will it finally be this season? I'm going to, again, for the third straight season, say yes, because I want it to happen. You know, the
I'm agreeing
Astros...
with you this time.
Yes! All right, we're getting somewhere, folks. Parker agrees. So, I guess, pointed question. Can they still be dangerous? Or have they really officially fallen off the ledge with this team right now?
When I look at the lineup, I'm like, oh, that's thin. They have a good top 2. They have it's Jeremy Pena and Yordan Alvarez, and I don't even know if Jeremy Pena is good anymore. Yordan's going to be Yordan. He's going to be great. But Pena, Alvarez, Jose Altuve, Carlos Correa, Christian Walker, Joey Loperfido, Yainer Diaz. Like, what's going on? What is going on in this lineup? I just think it's not good. I just don't think it's good enough.
Can we talk about the second year in the row where the Astros seemingly like have no outfield? Like, can they not sign a legitimate outfielder? I don't understand. Like,
their whole outfield left to right is Joey Loperfido, Jake Myers, and Zach Cole.
At minimum, it's a defensive first outfield. Cool. Whatever. Okay.
And
fine.
These guys are defensive first guys. Like, well, I guess Loperfido's not, but like, total projected WAR for this entire outfield is 3.6 total.
Oh my goodness. Get out of here.
And 2.2 of that's coming from Jake Myers.
He's putting the team on his back in the outfield there. Okay, so I agree with you. I think the offense leaves a lot to be desired. I think Yordan Alvarez, I actually do have some concerns about.
Okay.
I think, when you look at Yordan last year, he was only in 48 games, right? So he's coming off of a very injury-plagued season. And he's the type of guy where he is boom or bust. And I'll tell you what, like you said, with the lineup they have, if he's bust, you can just wave the white flag, honestly, because there's not much behind him. Now, what I will say about this Astros team is it is very likely that they are going to roll out a 6-man rotation. And this rotation, Parker, is the one thing that I actually really like, because you have Hunter Brown, Christian Javier, Tatsuya Imai, Lance McCullers is Mike Burrows, we saw some good things from him last season in just a few starts, really just a cup of coffee, and then Ryan Weiss. So,
I'm not on the rotation. They lost Framber.
Well, they lost Framber, but I still have faith in at least the first 3. Like, for me, I do like Hunter Brown, Javier, and Imai. I think I don't know that they make up a Framber? Of course not. No, I 100% agree with you. Having said that, if we're seriously grasping at straws to find the most productive unit, it's going to be the starting pitching. And you are right. At face value, if we're saying the starting pitching is the most productive unit here, that is not saying much about this team. So
Yeah, no.
all that to be said, this team as constructed, when you look at teams that are constructed like the Astros are currently constructed, you got to win by depth. Like you only get far in a season with your depth. They don't even have that, Parker. And this is why I think this is the season we finally see a huge Astros regression.
Yeah, I do too. One guy we didn't mention yet, Isaac Paredes, is in a million different trade talks this offseason. It appears that he's going to be continuing to resume his role as the Crawford boxes merchant, which is fine. That's a good guy. Here's what you literally jumped off the page to me when I pulled up their roster resource. Do you seriously think Jeremy Pena is going to put up 3.8 WAR this season?
No.
Do you seriously think Carlos Correa is going to put up 3.3 WAR this season?
I give him 2.5 tops.
That's what I'm saying, man. I think these projections are very generous, and if that's the case, like I wouldn't be surprised if we see a 95 OPS plus from both those guys. And if they're below league average, this lineup has nobody in it because he may miss 100 games.
So
especially in a losing season, he might miss 100 games.
Right. So what you're saying, Parker, is the only thing that will help them get by is just the old Astros juju if they still have it.
Yeah. I don't know if I'm buying it anymore, man. I think Hunter Brown could win a Cy Young.
Yeah, absolutely. Whether he can on a subpar team, we'll find out.
Especially in these days where you don't need to be on a winning team to win a Cy Young, which I think is the right way to do it, by the way. I would like to throw it out there. If he's putting up a 190 ERA, which he very well could, he's an incredible pitcher. He's also in his age 28 season. 28. He's older than we think he is.
These guys are just getting that's wild. Even Mike Burrows, their youngest pitcher, is 26. I mean, still young, but like, when I say like, pitchers that have like, I talked about Mike Burrows' cup of coffee last year. I want to hear that about a 22 or 23-year-old, not a 26-year-old.
Yeah. I think we are still seeing the effects of losing those first round picks. I think that's kind of what we're seeing. Like they just don't have young guys ready to come up and take the position. They literally still have Carlos Correa starting at third base for this team.
Jeez, that's just wild.
Yeah,
all right,
well, let's leave it there. I'm praying on their downfall.
Wow, we are just shitting on the Astros tonight. All right, well, let's move on to a team that you and I are just seemingly always high on, and that is the Seattle Mariners. Because the Seattle Mariners, like you opened up with, Parker, they really are the team with the most to lose, and it's their division to lose. I think it's very clear that this rotation still is one of the best in baseball. It is going to carry them through 162, and the health of that rotation is going to be everything. Still a team built around Julio Rodriguez, who last year looked like the Julio Rodriguez, not even to mention the Cal Raleigh season, which is obviously paramount here. But the question still continues to be, can this offense be enough to supplement this extraordinary pitching staff? In 2026, did they do enough for 26 to take that next step for their offense? That can't just rely on Rodriguez and Raleigh.
I think they are. I think they do, personally. I love this offense, if I'm being completely honest. And maybe I'm just drinking too much Kool-Aid, but, I love the Brendan Donovan addition. Yes. I love Cal Raleigh. Julio Rodriguez was the guy that I was alluding to at the beginning of the recording, where I was like, this is the guy that I think is the linchpin, because when we look at him, he had his best season that he's had overall. Especially when you factor in the defense. He had a 6.8 WAR last season by B WAR. He finished 6th in MVP voting. OPS Plus was actually down from his. So he had 147 that first year when he won the Rookie of the Year. Obviously, that's going to win you Rookie of the Year. Then 130, 115. He was down in 2024, and we mentioned that going into last season. Both you and I mentioned how this team goes as Julio does, and when he was hot, the team was hot, and when he was cold, the team was cold. He really did resurge a bit last year. I love that 128 OPS plus number from him and finishing 6th in MVP. That's something, and he plays elite defense. That's another thing. Like having an elite defender in center field, like the Red Sox are willing to let Cedar Rafaela with an 86 OPS plus bat 9th for their team just to play really good defense in center field. Like I think that is something that is super understated in MLB. I think defense as a whole is understated in MLB because you don't notice it until it bites you in the butt.
Yeah.
And Julio's not going to do that. He's going to be very, very, very good. So I do like the offense. I mean, they have the rotation that everybody wishes that they could boast. Every single one of these guys can go out there and win you a baseball game between Brian Wu, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, George Kirby, Bryce Miller. I think we're looking at probably a regression for Luis Castillo, but we've been looking at that for the last couple of years, and it just hasn't happened. He's only 33.
Yeah.
He still could be very good. And their bullpen's very good. Their bullpen arguably lost them that series against the Blue Jays last year in the ALCS. But we knew there were managerial decisions, I think, that played into that a lot. I mean, with bringing in Bizardo and stuff like that. So I love Andres Munoz. I like the rest of this bullpen. I still have them winning the division. And I really hope that if they get lightning in a bottle like they did last year, and this is without Robles, or not Robles, this is without Polanco. Polanco was a huge part of that run last year, and the very timely hitting that he was able to put together against the Tigers, that was massive for them. So there has to be another guy that does that. But like Josh Naylor could do that, Randy Arozarena could do that. So as long as this team continues to play at the level that it is, or it did last year, I've got them winning the division and making another deep playoff run.
Yeah, I'm with you. I do think, all things considered, does the offense get a little bit incrementally better? Yeah, I think Donovan's great. I think Donovan's one of those guys where we talked about last season. Like, this is a team that just needed more back to ball, more walks, less strikeouts. And I mean, Brendan Donovan's that to the T. So when I look at where this team could get better offensively, I still expect a little more out of Arozarena. I'm not giving up on him after a few down seasons. I think he still has it, especially in big moments. You're getting a full season of Josh Naylor. Let's not forget they only had him from the trade deadline forward, which is just astounding. You have a full season of Josh Naylor. That's great. Where I wish they did more, I think the Mariners are a team where they, like you said, will win this division, I think, pretty handily. But them getting through, 3 to 4 series in October is going to be a concern. I think if you have guys that are beaten up in your lineup that you're really counting on. And that's why I would have loved them to shore up kind of second base. And one thing I was really hoping they did, and I still think they should do, is they have the most prospects in the top 100 still. Their rotation is their prospects are the best in baseball, and they have pitching for like 3 different teams, folks. So I still think you go. Are you gonna name someone? Because I'm gonna name someone. Hold on. I think you may say what I'm
not naming anybody, but go ahead.
Okay. You call up the Chicago Cubs today, right now, and you say, I will give you 2 to 3 prospects and a freaking flyer on a guy for Nico Horner and put him at second. Do it.
I could see that. I don't think Horner moves until the deadline, but I could see him joining at the deadline. That'd be really good for them.
Yeah.
I would argue that they have incredible starting pitching, and they always will, but the depth at starting pitching is a major concern. Because they do have 5 dudes that can go out there and win you a ball game, but I don't think they have 6. And
good point.
We saw what happened with the Dodgers, and we saw what happened to the opposite effect with the Red Sox and the Yankees, and honestly could have happened to the Blue Jays if Trey Savage isn't exactly what he was last season. Depth at starting pitching, especially moving into the postseason, is absolutely devastating if you don't have it. And it affected these Mariners. When Brian Wu was not the Brian Wu from the regular season, in the postseason, because he was coming back off of injury, that seriously kneecapped them. And if you're counting, and I think they are counting on 30 starts out of Luis Castillo, that's when I start to get a little scared over what is the plan if one of these guys goes down. Because one of them they'll go down. There's only a couple teams in big league history that have ever had 30 starts from all 5 starting pitchers, and one of them is like the 2004 Red Sox. It barely ever happens. And when it does, you see really successful teams. But when it doesn't, which is every other team, you need a way to get over that. And I don't know if they do. Maybe they do. I don't know their system that well. But that's my major concern with them going into this season.
It's a fair concern. I'm going to read you some names because these are the next men up in AAA. Some of these guys you'll know. Emerson Hancock, Randy Dobnak, remember him, and Dane Dunning, former White Sox. So are there people that can step up? Yes. However, to your point, if you have 2 of those guys in your rotation because, because 2 of your guys are down in your normal 5, I'm a little worried. That makes me worried.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and sure. I mean, I'd like to point him out because he's done some good stuff with the Red Sox. Cooper Criswell can give you a start here or there, and he can get guys out, especially in a ballpark like Seattle. So it's there, ? But that's my major concern, and that's all. I mean, I still think they win the division. I still think I think they're in the ALCS this upcoming season, if I may.
Wow.
But we could see the wheels completely fall off, and if it does, I think it's out of the rotation.
All right. Well, on that note, Parker, we know we both have the Mariners first in this division. Why don't you give me your order? How do you think this thing's going to fall?
No, you go first.
You are holding out on. Okay. All right.
Yep.
I'll go.
Yeah.
All right. Calm down. I will. Here we go. I'm giving you No, I'm gonna go the opposite way. I'm gonna go the opposite way for a dramatic effect. Okay.
Yeah.
Last place, 5th place, Angels.
Okay.
4th place, Astros.
Okay.
3rd place, Rangers. 2nd place, Athletics. And then the Mariners.
Dude.
You have the same list I do, don't you?
So I've got 1st place Mariners, 2nd place Athletics.
Mm-hmm.
3rd place Rangers, 4th place Angels, 5th place Astros.
No way in hell. Really?
I do. Yeah.
Okay. Let's think about this for a second. Hold on. You're not crazy. We literally just got done talking about the Astros. I don't think that's out of the picture.
Neither do I. I think the Astros are going to crash and burn.
Whoa. Man.
I also think the Rangers they're gonna have all those weaknesses show up. I don't know, man. I almost put the Angels in 3rd. Genuinely, I think the Rangers and Astros are gonna have a tough time this upcoming season.
Oh man, not
so now does my
Texas,
Angels
folks.
might be in 3rd? Kind of like we broke down the rosters. If the Angels finished in 3rd, it wouldn't be the most insane thing, because if we find ourselves in August and the Rangers are 8 games below 500, which could really be a thing, like, okay, now the Angels kind of if they just play 500 ball, which they totally could with that lineup and roster, like maybe we have a 500 Angels team.
Well, I mean, when we said this was going to be volatile, what did we deliver? Holy crap, man. I mean, this division, folks, it's going to be wild. Are the Astros going to fall? Can the Mariners hang on to it? Can the Athletics be the Cinderella story? You tell us in the comments. Tell us your predictions. Tell us if we're absolutely crazy or maybe not so crazy.